Think you're in control of your life? Think again. You pick your career. You set your goals. You fall in love. You say, "This is what I want," and you believe you're the one steering the wheel. But take a step back. Have you ever stopped to ask why you want what you want? Who planted that idea in your head? Are your choices really yours, or have they been quietly shaped by forces you didn't even notice? Maybe it's the friend who always makes you feel guilty when you say no, the boss who gives compliments right before asking for overtime, the ad that suddenly makes you feel like you're not enough until you buy what they're selling. If you've ever had that subtle, sinking feeling, like something's off, like you're being pushed but can't see who's doing the pushing, you're not crazy, and you're not alone. Manipulation doesn't always wear a villain's face. It's quiet. It blends in. It feels normal. But as Machiavelli warned, men are so simple and so focused on immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims. The good news? Once you learn to see it, you can't unsee it. You can reclaim your mind, cut the strings, and start making choices that are truly yours. Why you're a target. The human flaw. Manipulation works because you're human. That's not an insult. It's a fact. We're wired with desires, fears, and instincts that make us predictable. You crave approval, dread rejection, and carry wounds from years past. Maybe a parent's criticism, a friend's betrayal, or a moment you felt invisible. These aren't just feelings, they're entry points. Manipulators don't need to break down your walls. They slip through the cracks you didn't know were there. Think about it. Have you ever said yes to something you didn't want to do, just to avoid conflict? Stayed quiet when you knew you were right, because speaking up felt risky? Given more than you could afford, time, energy, trust, because someone made you feel you owed them? These aren't random moments. They're the result of emotional triggers manipulators know how to exploit. Machiavelli saw this centuries ago. The nature of people is variable, and whilst it is easy to persuade them, it is difficult to fix them in that persuasion. Your emotions are their playground, a chessboard where they move you like a pawn, unless you learn to guard them. Let's break it down. There are 3 core vulnerabilities manipulators target. 1. The need for approval. From childhood, many of us are taught that love and worth come from pleasing others. You say yes to keep people happy. You soften your opinions to avoid being difficult. A manipulator spots this and offers validation, compliments, attention, a sense of belonging. But it's a trap. Those crumbs of approval come with a price, your autonomy. They give you just enough to keep you hooked, and before you know it, you're bending to their will, thinking it's your choice. 2. The weight of guilt. Guilt is a silent chain. Maybe you were raised to believe putting yourself first is selfish, or that saying no is unkind. Manipulators love this. They play the victim. A sigh, a sad glance, a subtle, "I thought you cared." Suddenly you're apologizing, compromising, sacrificing, all to ease the guilt they've planted. It's not about what you've done. It's about what they make you feel you've done. 3. The fear of loss. Fear is a primal driver. Fear of being alone, of failing, of being forgotten. Manipulators wield this like a blade, creating scenarios where you feel you need them. "You'll never find someone like me," they say. "Without this job, you're nothing." They don't chain you to a wall. They chain you to an idea, making you doubt your ability to walk away. And so you stay, trapped not by force but by your own hesitation. These vulnerabilities aren't your fault. They're the product of biology, upbringing, and a world that thrives on influence. But here's the catch. As long as they go unnoticed, they're weaknesses. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He didn't see humans as noble or evil, just predictable. And those who understand that predictability hold power. In The Prince, he wrote, Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can touch. Manipulators create a spectacle, emotional, psychological, visual, that feels like reality. They don't force you to act, they make you want to act, believing it's your idea. But you're not doomed. Awareness is the first step to flipping the script. Once you see your vulnerabilities, they stop being liabilities. They become checkpoints, places to pause and ask, why am I feeling this? Who benefits if I act on it? That pause is your power. Let's build on it. Step 1. See the game before it plays you. You can't fight what you don't see. Manipulation thrives in the dark, in the moments you're too busy, too trusting, or too distracted to notice. The first step to mastering your mind is opening your eyes, not just to others, but to yourself. Machiavelli was a master observer, dissecting human behavior with surgical precision. He didn't react impulsively. He studied, anticipated, and acted with intent. You need to do the same. Start by watching the patterns around you. Does someone always seem to get their way, no matter the cost to you? Do they praise you only when they need something? Do their requests come wrapped in guilt, fear, or flattery? These aren't coincidences, they're tactics. Here are a few common ones to spot. The charm offensive. They shower you with attention, compliments, kindness, a sense of being special. It feels good, like you've found an ally. But watch closely. Charm often hides calculation. They're creating an emotional debt, banking on your instinct to reciprocate. Next time someone's overly warm, ask yourself, what do they gain if I say yes? The guilt trip. They don't ask directly, they imply. A sigh, a pointed comment, a look of disappointment. I thought you were different, they might say, or I guess I'll manage alone. Suddenly you're scrambling to fix a problem they've framed as your fault. Guilt is their lever. Your compliance is their goal. The fearmonger. They paint a dire picture. If you don't do this, you'll regret it. You'll end up alone. You're not cut out for anything else. They don't need to threaten physically. Doubt is enough. By making you question yourself, they keep you tethered. The silent treatment. Silence can be louder than words. They withdraw, leaving you to fill the void with worry. Did you do something wrong? Are they upset? You chase, you apologize, you concede, all to restore the connection they've weaponized. These tactics aren't new. Machiavelli described them in The Prince, noting how leaders used charm, fear, and calculated absence to control without force. He who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived, he wrote. The key word is allow. You're not a victim. You're a participant, but only until you stop playing. Here's how to start. Observe without reacting. When someone pushes your buttons, flattering, guilting, or pressuring, pause. Take a mental step back. Ask, what's happening here? What do they want? Don't argue or justify, just watch. Notice their tone, their timing, their choice of words. Notice how you feel, too. Is your heart racing? Are you tempted to fix things? That's your trigger, and they're counting on it. Observation isn't passive, it's strategic. It's gathering intelligence like a general before battle. The more you see, the less they can surprise you, and when you're not surprised, you're not swayed. Machiavelli didn't trust appearances, neither should you. Train your eyes to cut through the fog, and you'll spot the game before it traps you. Step 2. Wield silence like a blade. In a world screaming for attention, texts, notifications, endless chatter, silence is a superpower. Most people can't stand it. They fill every pause with words, explanations, emotions, handing manipulators exactly what they need. Predictability. You argue, you defend, you overshare, and they've got you mapped. But silence? Silence is a wild card. It's the one thing they can't control. Machiavelli understood this. He didn't waste words or reveal his hand unless it served a purpose. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, he wrote, meaning perception matters more than action. When you're silent, you control what others see, or don't see. You become a mystery, a blank slate they can't read, and that throws them off balance. Think about the last time someone tried to manipulate you. Maybe they pushed for an answer, guilted you into agreeing, or baited you into an argument. Your instinct was to respond, to explain, to fix, to prove. That's what they wanted. Every word you give is a clue, a lever they can pull. Now imagine this instead. You say nothing. You meet their pressure with a calm, steady gaze. No defense, no apology, just silence. What happens? They squirm. They repeat themselves. They reveal their hand because they can't stand the quiet. Silence isn't just absence, it's presence. It's confidence. It's the signal that you don't need to perform for anyone. Here's how to use it. When pressured, someone's pushing you to decide, agree, or explain. Instead of rushing to answer, pause. Let the moment stretch. Say, "I'll think about it," or nothing at all. Watch how their urgency betrays their intent. When provoked, they're baiting you, criticizing, accusing, or mocking. Your instinct is to fire back. Don't. Stay quiet. Let their words hang. They'll either double down, showing their weakness, or back off, ceding control. When flattered, compliments feel good, but they're often bait. Someone praises you, and you're tempted to please them in return. Smile, nod, say nothing. If they're fishing, they'll show it by pressing harder. When guilted, they sigh, hint at disappointment, or play the victim. Your urge is to reassure or fix. Resist. Let their tactics sit unanswered. Silence forces them to confront their own game. This isn't about being cold or cruel. It's about being deliberate. Silence buys you time to think, to see clearly, to choose your move. Manipulators rely on your emotional reflex. When you don't give it, their script falls apart. Try it today. The next time someone tries to pull your strings, hold your tongue. Watch what happens when you refuse to dance to their tune. Step 3. Forge emotional armor. Mastering your mind isn't about shutting down your heart. It's about protecting it. Emotional armor doesn't make you untouchable. It makes you unshakable. It's the clarity to know what's yours and what's been planted, the strength to stand firm when others try to sway you. Manipulators thrive on your reactions, your doubt, your guilt, your need to be liked. Build armor, and those weapons lose their edge. Machiavelli taught that power comes from self-mastery. The prudent man should follow the paths beaten by the great, he wrote, meaning you emulate those who've conquered their weaknesses. Your weaknesses aren't flaws, they're blind spots. The goal is to see them, name them, and guard them. Here's how to forge that armor. 1. Know your triggers. Everyone has buttons, specific emotions or situations that make you act without thinking. Maybe compliments make you overly trusting, or criticism sends you into self-doubt. Maybe you cave to guilt trips or panic at conflict. Identify these. Write them down if you have to. For example, if you notice you always agree to favors when someone flatters you, that's a trigger. Knowing it means you can pause when it's pressed. 2. Question. Your impulses. Emotions feel like truth, but they're often illusions. When you're tempted to act, say yes, apologize, retreat. Stop and ask, why do I feel this? Who benefits if I do this? If the answer points to someone else's agenda, you're being played. For instance, if a friend's disappointment makes you drop everything to help, check if that's your choice or their framing. 3. Define your core. Who are you when no one's watching? What do you value, stand for, refuse to compromise? A strong identity is your anchor. If you know you're honest, kind, but not a doormat, No one can guilt you into betraying that. Manipulators love ambiguity. They make you doubt yourself. When your core is clear, their doubts bounce off. 4. Practice. Discomfort. Armor isn't built in comfort zones. Saying no, setting boundaries, or walking away feels awkward at first. It might spark pushback, silence, or tears from others. That's okay. Each time you stand firm, you get stronger. Start small. Say no to a minor request without explaining. Notice how it feels. Then do it again. This process isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming you, fully and fiercely. Machiavelli didn't advocate cruelty. He advocated clarity. Men must either be pampered or destroyed, he wrote, not to promote violence, but to highlight strength. You don't need to hurt others, but you must show you're not prey. Emotional armor lets you engage with the world, love, work, dream, without being owned by it. Step 4. Rule with boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls. They're declarations of who you are. They're the lines that say, this is me, and this is what I allow. Without them, you're an open field, inviting anyone to tread. With them, you're a fortress, welcoming only those who respect your terms. Manipulators hate boundaries because they disrupt control. Set them, and you're no longer a pawn. You're a king. Machiavelli understood power as a balance of force and perception. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both, he wrote. This doesn't mean you intimidate. It means you command respect. Boundaries are how you do that. They're not about shutting people out, but about defining what's non-negotiable. Here's how to set them like a ruler. Be clear and calm. Ambiguity invites testing. When you set a boundary, state it simply. I don't discuss my personal life at work. I need time to think before deciding. No need for apologies or long explanations. Clarity is authority. Don't justify. Manipulators love explanations. They're openings to argue or guilt. If you say no, let it stand. If they push, repeat your boundary or stay silent. For example, if someone demands your time and you say, I'm not available, don't add why. Your no is enough. Expect pushback. Boundaries threaten control, so expect resistance, tears, anger, silence, or accusations. That's not failure. It's proof you've hit a nerve. Hold firm. If a friend guilts you for not helping, say, I've made my choice, and let them process. Model strength. Boundaries aren't just words, they're actions. If someone crosses a line, show consequences. If they disrespect your time, don't rush to accommodate next time. If they guilt you, don't soothe their feelings. Consistency teaches others how to treat you. Protect your peace. Some relationships, family, partners, co-workers, are harder to boundary. Here, focus on what you control, your reactions, your time, your energy. If a parent demands constant attention, set limits like, I'll call once a week. If a partner manipulates, state, I won't engage when you speak like that. You can't change them, but you can change the dance. Boundaries feel harsh at first, especially if you're used to pleasing. You might worry about seeming selfish or losing people, but here's the truth. Those who leave over your boundaries were never yours. They wanted control, not connection. Machiavelli knew this. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Surround yourself with those who respect your lines, and your life transforms. Step 5. Play the game. Better. Here's where it gets interesting. Seeing manipulation isn't enough. Shielding yourself isn't the end game. To truly master your mind, you learn to play the game on your terms. Manipulators expect you to react, to follow their script. When you don't, you're not just free, you're ahead. Machiavelli was a strategist, not a victim. The wise man does at once what the fool does at last, he wrote. Anticipate, adapt, and outmaneuver. This isn't about becoming manipulative yourself, unless you want to cross that line. It's about using their tactics as tools, not weapons. Manipulators rely on predictability, so your defense is surprise. Here's how to turn the tables. Be unpredictable. They expect you to chase approval, argue when provoked, or cave under pressure. Do the opposite. If they guilt you, stay neutral. If they demand answers, give vague ones. If they expect you to stay, walk away. Unpredictability disrupts their map of you. Mirror their moves. If they use silence to unsettle you, use it back. If they flatter, nod but don't bite. If they push boundaries, enforce yours harder. Mirroring shows you see their game, and it forces them to rethink their approach. Control the frame. Manipulators set the narrative. You're the problem. You owe them. You're not enough. Reframe it. If they guilt you for saying no, say, I'm prioritizing my responsibilities. If they criticize, respond. That's one perspective. You don't argue, you redirect. Anticipate their endgame. Every tactic has a goal: compliance, attention, power. Ask, what do they want long-term? If a boss flatters you before piling on work, they want loyalty. If a friend vents constantly, they want your energy. Knowing their aim lets you sidestep their traps. Choose your battles. Not every manipulation needs a response. Sometimes ignoring is the strongest move. If a coworker gossips to stir drama, don't engage. If a family member baits you, change the subject. Save your energy for what matters. This approach requires discipline. You're not reacting out of spite or ego, you're acting with intent. Machiavelli didn't waste moves, he calculated. You do the same. The goal isn't to dominate others, but to protect your freedom. When you play better, you're not just surviving the game, you're shaping it. The hardest arena. Manipulation, up close. Now, let's talk about the toughest challenge: manipulation from those you love. A parent who guilts you into compliance, a partner who makes you doubt yourself, a friend who demands more than you can give. These aren't strangers you can cut off. They're woven into your life, your heart, your history. Their tactics feel like care, loyalty, or duty, and that's what makes them so hard to resist. Machiavelli warned, men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. In close relationships, manipulators use both. They say, I'm only doing this because I care, but care that demands submission isn't care, it's control. They say, you owe me, but loyalty built on guilt isn't loyalty, it's obligation. Recognize the signs. Emotional blackmail. If you loved me, you'd do this. I sacrificed so much for you. They frame your choices as tests of devotion, making you feel selfish for having needs. Gaslighting. They twist reality. You're overreacting. That never happened. You question your memory, your judgment, until you rely on their version of truth. Conditional affection. Their warmth depends on your compliance. Say no and they withdraw. Cold silence, sharp comments, or feigned hurt. You chase their approval to restore the connection. Overwhelming neediness. They lean on you constantly, venting, demanding, leaning, until you're drained. You feel responsible for their emotions, unable to step back without guilt. These dynamics are prisons disguised as bonds. You walk on eggshells, avoid conflict, anticipate their reactions to keep peace. Over time, you lose yourself, shrinking to fit their expectations. But here's the hard truth. Not every relationship, even with love, is healthy. Not every person who loves you knows how to love freely. Some bonds don't protect, they confine. Breaking free starts with acceptance. You can't change them, but you can change your role. Set boundaries, even if they sting. If a parent guilts you, say, I love you, but I need to make my own choices. If a partner gaslights, state, I see it differently, and I trust my perspective. If a friend drains you, limit contact. I'm here sometimes, but I need space too. These aren't attacks, they're assertions of your worth. Expect resistance. They'll push, cry, accuse, because your freedom threatens their control. Stand firm. Sometimes loving someone means stepping away, letting them face their own emptiness. It's painful, but staying in a toxic dance is worse. Machiavelli knew this. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Choose people who lift you, not leash you. Living like a strategist in a world of noise. We live in an age of relentless influence. Social media algorithms feed you ideas, ads sell you identities, politics demand your allegiance. Even casual conversations carry agendas, people vying for status, attention, validation. It's a battlefield, and your mind is the prize. Machiavelli's advice cuts through. Whoever controls the narrative controls the decisions. If you don't control your own, someone else will. Modern life rewards reactivity. Scroll, like, comment, repeat. Argue online, chase trends, follow the crowd. But reactivity is vulnerability. Every impulsive click, every heated reply, hands manipulators data to exploit. Machiavelli didn't believe in autopilot. He believed in strategy. Men generally judge more by the eye than by the hand, he wrote. Perception is power, and you wield it by choosing what to show, say, and engage with. Here's how to live like a strategist. Question everything. Ads, news, compliments, criticism. None are neutral. Ask who benefits if I believe this. What's the angle? If a post sparks outrage, check why it's trending. If a friend's advice feels off, consider their motives. Doubt isn't cynicism, it's clarity. Curate your circle. Your environment shapes you. If you're surrounded by drama, negativity, or manipulation, you'll absorb it. Choose people who challenge you to grow, not shrink. As Machiavelli said, the first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Limit exposure. Social media, news, gossip, they're designed to hook you. Set boundaries. An hour a day, no notifications, no scrolling before bed. Protect your attention like it's gold, because it is. Act with intent. Before you speak, post, or decide, pause. What's your goal? Is this reaction serving you or someone else? Intentionality is your edge in a world of noise. Build your narrative. Don't let others define you. Share what aligns with your values, not what gets likes. If you're kind, be kind on your terms. If you're ambitious, chase goals that matter to you, not society's script. This isn't about isolation, it's about sovereignty. You can engage with the world, love deeply, create boldly, but do it as you, not a puppet of trends or agendas. Machiavelli's genius was seeing humans as they are, not as they pretend to be. See the same, and you'll navigate life with unmatched clarity. The cost of freedom, and why it's worth it freedom, isn't free. That's not a cliché, it's a warning. Mastering your mind means facing truths that sting. You'll see manipulation in places you didn't expect, family, friends, even yourself. You'll lose people who liked you compliant, who thrived on your yeses. You'll feel the weight of standing alone, of saying no when it's easier to nod. But Machiavelli didn't write for the faint-hearted. The prudent man should follow the paths beaten by the great, he urged, because greatness demands sacrifice. The cost is real, but so is the reward. Imagine a life where guilt doesn't sway you, where fear doesn't bind you, where your choices reflect your truth. You'll walk taller, speak clearer, love braver, not because you're perfect, but because you're free. Every boundary you set, every tactic you dodge, every silence you wield builds a version of you no one can shake. Here's what you'll lose: the exhaustion of pleasing, the anxiety of second-guessing, the regret of betraying yourself. Here's what you'll gain: clarity to chase what matters, strength to build real connections, power to shape your world. The pain of growth is temporary. The cost of staying a pawn is eternal. Your move. Take the reins. You're at a turning point. You can keep living as you are, reacting, bending, drifting, or you can choose to master your mind. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a practice. Start today, right now. Pick one moment in your life where you suspect manipulation, a friend's guilt trip, a coworker's flattery, a habit you can't shake. Counter it. Say no. Stay silent. Ask a question that shifts the frame. Each choice is a brick in your fortress. Machiavelli's wisdom isn't dusty history. It's a playbook for today. It is better to be feared than loved. If you cannot be both, he wrote, not to breed cruelty, but to demand respect. Be someone who commands it, not someone who begs for scraps of approval. The world is a chessboard, and you're no pawn. Move like a king. Want to go deeper? Subscribe and join those who refuse to be played. Share below. When did you first spot manipulation in your life? What's the one tactic you'll counter today? Let's break the cycle together. The game is on. Play to win.